Y'all, I have a problem. I'm supposed to go see the new Odyssey movie this weekend, but I haven't read the book yet. And I'm a firm believer in you gotta read the book before the movie, especially for something as epic as the Odyssey. So, what am I supposed to do? Obviously, I'm supposed to binge the entire Odyssey in 6 days before I go see the movie. So I would not call myself like a huge classics reader, but I'm definitely like not a novice at reading classics. I read a bunch of classics in school. The only thing I read similar to the Odyssey is I had to read Beowulf in my senior year of high school, and then I read what's it called? I'm completely forgetting what it's called, but it's that play that Sigmund Freud based that like whole complex off of. This is really embarrassing because I have a whole degree in psychology, but I had to read that play in college for an English class, completely unrelated to my psych degree. Fun fact. So those are the two like epic poems that I've had to read. I've never read anything quite as long as the Odyssey, but I decided that I was going to buckle down and do it. Despite firmly, when the movie trailers came out, I was like, I'm going to wait and I'm going to read the book and then I'm going to watch it. No, my fiance was like, let's go see it this weekend. I said, okay, I guess I'm reading this book. Full transparency, I have already started it and I've gotten through book 6 because, fun fact, it's not done in chapters, it's done in books. So I've gotten through book 6 and a lot has happened, like a crazy amount has happened, and thankfully I do know like a fair amount about Greek mythology, but I have had to look up like a lot of stuff so far. And basically what happens with every book that I've read is I'll start out and like basically I'll start out and I'll know what's happening, and then it devolves into like pure confusion of I just don't understand what's going on. So what have I done to counteract that? I've used Spark Notes. I haven't used Spark Notes since like my freshman year of college. For something as in-depth as this, I am gonna pull it out. But I also would say like I haven't been overly like daunted by this task of reading it. Like I definitely am like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of classic literature that I have to read. It is like almost 600 pages long, and I'm like listening to it on audio and also reading it. I have like an ebook version. Okay, so I've kind of explained like my dilemma and how I'm processing all of it, but like what is happening in the story? So for those of you who don't know, the Odyssey follows a couple of different characters. We start off by following Ulysses' son, Ulysses' son, Telemachus, who has basically he has this like coming of age moment in the first couple of books where he kind of a bunch of suitors are there trying to marry his mother because they're like, your husband is dead, because Ulysses left to go fight in the Trojan War 20 years prior and has not returned home since, despite all of the other heroes of the Trojan War having returned home. So all these suitors are here trying to marry Telemachus's mother, Penelope, and he basically has this moment where he's like, I'm the man of the house now, and you guys need to leave. And then he like goes on this journey to go and find his father. And then we've also now switched to Ulysses' perspective, in which he was like held captive on this island by Calypso. And basically the gods just randomly decided one day that like, oh, we don't need to make Ulysses suffer anymore. Like we can let him go. And so they make Calypso let him go. Immediately upon leaving the island, Ulysses gets into a wreck, like a shipwreck, and he's like drifted on this island. And the last book I read, book 6, he had just been found by this like princess, and I think he is like safe now. But I also know that like this is a long journey and there's 24 books in the book, 24 sections in the book, so like obviously a lot more has to happen. And I have a feeling a lot more hardship is going to befall him. I read so much of it yesterday that by the end of the day, I like wanted to read one more section, and then I was like, no, I need to leave that for tomorrow. So as of right now, I'm trying to read 3 to 4 sections every day because we're going to see it Saturday night, and today it is Tuesday morning. So I've read 6, I have 18 left. I think I can kind of do that as long as I stay consistent with it. So that's my first check-in. I will check in with y'all after I have read a lot more of the Odyssey.
I'm a little over halfway through the Odyssey, and things were starting to make a lot more sense, and I was like actually understanding what was happening in every book, and like I was tracking, and I've kind of hit a spot where I'm like, I don't really know what's going on anymore. I will say I think if I weren't like binging this and I didn't have a like legit goal of like, okay, I want to watch the movie, so I'm gonna read it, I don't think I would read it. I think I kind of would have maybe given up, because it's like a lot, and it's not like something that I would typically read, but it's pushing me as a reader, and it's pushing my comprehension skills, and it's kind of making me like remember, like have to recall how I read in school and how I kind of like analyze things in school. I haven't been doing the like spark notes for the last couple of books. I've just kind of been going off of my own vibes of what I'm picking up from the story. And I'm kind of like, I'm there. I know I just said I was like, oh, I'm getting confused again, but like I am kind of like understanding what's happening. It was a little confusing because basically Ulysses got to, like, he left the island where he was trapped, and he ends up with like in this like court with this other king, and basically the king at this certain point is like, who are you, like where have you come from, and like what's your name and like purpose, and why are you wandering around and not at home. Then it jumps into like a couple of books of flashbacks of Ulysses telling his story. And so I think that's where my confusion kind of came in, because I was like, oh wait, like are we still in the flashback, or have we returned to the court? Like what's going on? But I think I have an okay understanding. I will say the last book I read, Ulysses and his like men were in the underworld. Don't know why. I could not tell you why. I'm confused. I'm as confused as you are. And if you're not confused, help me understand it in the comments, because I don't understand. I don't understand why they went there.
Hey guys, it's Editing Sierra. As I'm watching this video, I have since obviously seen the movie, and I have gone down a literal rabbit hole of researching the Odyssey and learning more about it. So I can confidently tell you that when I was first reading it, I missed the part where when he was on the island with Circe, and he and his men finally decided to leave the island and start going back home again. He asked Circe, hey, we're really off course. How do we get back home? Circe is like, I honestly have no idea. You're going to have to go to the underworld and ask Tiresias, who is like some like prophet seer type of person, how to get back home and all of that. And so then they end up going to the underworld, meeting a bunch of different dead people, and learning about the fates of some of the heroes of the Trojan War, as well as Tiresias gives Ulysses kind of basically, this is how you get back home, and then also gives him a prophecy of like, you're not gonna get back home, basically, like you'll make it back home but the rest of your crew won't, because of this and this. And Ulysses spends the rest of the time, the flashback where he's talking about this, kind of basically trying to prove fate wrong, and that doesn't happen. Like obviously his crew does die, and it takes him literally like 7 more years to get back home. So that's why they went to the underworld. I just wanted to explain that because it is pretty crucial to the plot, and I did not realize that when I was reading it. I thought it was just kind of a fun side quest. Nope, very essential to the plot. Okay, back to the video.
It's an interesting story. Oh, one thing, I know this is like the whole point of like an epic poem, but Ulysses loves to yap. What could be said in like one paragraph, you best believe Ulysses is gonna go on for pages about it. Pages and pages and pages. And like legitimately, there are some points where I'm like, why are you still talking? Am I enjoying it? Yes, because it's so different and it's so outside of my wheelhouse, and like I said, it's pushing me as a reader, and it's just a fun experience. I'm having a fun time with it, and having the goal of like getting it done by Saturday and getting to watch the movie, it's definitely helping me keep reading. So anyway, I think I'm going to try and read 1 or 2 more books before I go to bed. That sounds weird to say, but like 1 or 2 more sections before I go to bed. Keep updating y'all tomorrow. I wish I could film a time lapse of me like reading it. I know I try and do that for reading blogs, but the ebook is on my phone and my phone is my camera. So can't do that. but that's okay. Obviously, I'm reading it and I'm giving updates. So, yeah, all right, we'll check in more tomorrow.
It's Friday morning. I'm 75% through the Odyssey and I'm watching the movie tomorrow night at 6:15. So I have basically a day and a half-ish to read through the last 6 books. I just finished book 17 last night and I really wanted to read another one, but it was getting late and I was like, I don't want to just like force myself to read it because I am like enjoying the story and I'm having a fun time like going through it all, but I don't want it to just become like a chore, and it kind of already is in the sense that I'm trying to like complete it. I'm making progress and I'm understanding what's happening. There's a lot of things that are going on that I'm like, this could have been an email type of situation. It's long. It's long, and sometimes like when Ulysses, sorry, I was trying to think of the character. Also, I researched this because I think in the movie his name is Odysseus, so I looked it up. Ulysses and Odysseus are basically just two different translations of his name. Odysseus is a, like, I think the Greek translation, and Ulysses is the Latin translation, and so the translation that I'm reading is adapted from the Latin, which makes sense because a lot of the like Greek gods have a more like Latin type of name. I don't know if that's like universal or that's just the specific one, the specific ebook that I checked out. I don't know. I don't know if anybody was curious about that, but I was curious about it, so I looked it up. Anyway, where am I in the book? So Ulysses has made it back to Ithaca, his homeland, and upon arriving in Ithaca, he basically gets transformed by Athena into a beggar so that he's unrecognizable because I think there's like, I think basically like the suitors who are trying to marry his wife would like kill him if he came back, I think is kind of the vibes of what's going on. And he ends up running into like his old servant and they just have a lot of interactions where the servant, I've been saying his name as Emmaus, I don't know if that's how you actually say it, but that's what it looks like to me. But basically Emmaus has just been like telling him these different stories that to me have literally like nothing to do with the plot, except for he told him like where his son Telemachus was, and then he told him like what was going on with his wife Penelope. And I'm like, that's relevant. Ulysses doesn't know that yet, so it's relevant to like hear and understand his reactions to all of that. But then Emmaus just kind of like is talking about these random stories. And then also Ulysses just like when Emmaus is like, who are you? Ulysses just like straight up lies and is like, oh, I know Ulysses, like blah blah blah. And he literally, I think the story went on for like pages and pages where he's just making up complete BS about who he is and how he knew Ulysses. And I'm like, why is this relevant? Like, you could have just said he lied. I think there's a lot of symbolism and deeper meaning that I am not fully grasping. And that's okay because I'm not like studying it. I'm just reading it to read it. I'm reading it for entertainment and to prepare to watch the movie. That's the only reason I'm reading it. I'm not reading it for like let me see like these themes that were in ancient literature. And if I were reading it from that viewpoint, I might have a better understanding of certain things. But some of it, I'm just kind of like, I didn't fully understand it, but I am not taking the time to go back and read it. It really depends on the type of scene that I'm reading, the enjoyment that I'm having with it. Overall, I am liking it and it is not as insufferable as an experience as I thought it was going to be, genuinely. I have been able to binge like 100 pages at a time and not really be like, oh, this is horrible. And so I think that's really saying something. Clearly, it stood the test of time. I need to read a lot of it because, like I said, my fiance is taking me out to see it tomorrow night, which means that I am going to visit him this weekend, which means that we will be spending a lot of time together. I don't have as much time to read. So hopefully I'm gonna pick the audiobook back up in the car on the way there. I was struggling, like I listened to the first 5 books purely on audio and I was struggling to understand it. And I think it was a mix of 1, I didn't know what was going on, and 2, it was audio and I might have been a little distracted. So we'll see what the vibes are, but I kind of do understand what's happening now. So that's the plan for today. is to hopefully finish it by this evening, if not tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm hitting the road now. I have a 2-hour drive, so I think I can get through 3 books of the Odyssey. One is 45 minutes and then the next 2 are 30 minutes each, so that's like, yeah, I can fully get through those and then maybe start another, but that is the goal, is to get through, I think it's books 19, 20, and 21. So let's see if I can do it. Y'all, we are so close to finishing this book. I am literally in my pajamas, laying in bed, about to finish the last 3 books. It's almost 11 p.m. at night, but movie is tomorrow and I'm gonna get it done. So listening in the car on the way here was not the best. I was not fully comprehending what was happening, and I had to stop to go to the bathroom halfway through. And so while I did that, I looked up the spark notes of what happened, like the summary of what happened in 1920 and 21. And that helped a lot for the second half, just kind of knowing like what was coming next, like what had just happened and what was coming next. I was definitely very confused, and I was trying to like focus on the road and focus on listening, but we're so close to the end. We're gonna do it. I think these last 3 books are a little shorter. I'm just gonna get to reading. I just wanted to update y'all that I made it and I listened like the entire time, and 3 left. 3 books left. I finished the Odyssey yesterday, and then we went and saw the movie last night, and I literally finished it like we were out and about, and I was like reading it in the car because like everything is like a 30-minute drive away. So I was like reading it in the car on the way back home, and I finished it, we can go now. Like it was such a, I don't know, it was just such a crazy experience. I do have to say, after finishing it, I don't think it is as daunting as society maybe makes it seem. I think that people have just made it seem like a really big thing because it's like, oh, it's so old and it's an epic, and it's like, it's something that you would read if you were doing like a literature degree or something, and it's not. Like, no, I wouldn't say it's like an everyman's book. It's certainly not like the first classic I would suggest someone to pick up, but I also wouldn't be like, oh yeah, don't read the Odyssey. Like I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it. I did rate it a 4 stars, and I gotta say, rating a book like that seemed kind of crazy. I was like, how do you quantify that? But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I want to read the Iliad now. Like I'm all about it. Like, let's go. I've read so many articles since, like not so many, but I've read a lot of different articles about the Odyssey since starting it and finishing it, and I'm kind of like, this is fun, this is cool. Like if you enjoy reading and analyzing literature, like this is a book for you because there's so much material on it, and also there's so many different translations of it. I didn't realize that. It's kind of, this is me saying this is not like an article or anything saying this, but it's almost like the Bible in the way that it's been translated in different ways, and like even just the version I read was more of a Latin translation with the names and stuff versus a Greek translation. I was going to use the Greek gods, and they're going to call him Odysseus instead of Ulysses. Is it the most approachable book in the world? No, definitely not. But is it unapproachable? No. It's attainable to read it if you want to, if that makes sense. The movie, thoughts on the movie, I loved it. It was so good, and I felt that it was a faithful adaptation, and the things that were changed to make it into a movie felt like they were still authentic to the actual storyline. They definitely changed. When I walked out of the theater, I was like, oh, they only changed 10%. I would go back on that. I think they changed like 20 to 30% from source material. Then again, is that just me? Like in the beginning of the book, I was a lot more confused and a lot more like, what in the world is going on? And did I forget some things? There's a real possibility that that's true. So I would say like they probably changed about 20% of it to adapt it to the screen. And the 20% that they changed made sense and it worked. And I liked how they really emphasized certain themes, and they were faithful. Well, not they. Christopher Nolan was faithful to tell the story of Odysseus / Ulysses while also making it relatable and something that a modern watcher, a modern like 21st century watcher, viewer can understand, and they can see the humanity within it and interact with it in a way that makes sense to the 21st century viewer. The book, I would say the same is true if you know how to like read humanity and understand humanity in the ways that Odysseus monologues or dialogues about how much he misses home and stuff. Those are my thoughts on all of it. I had a fun time reading it. It got kind of like, it became a lot at a certain point, but only because I was like trying to read it within 6 days, and like my copy, like I said, was 574 pages long. It was a lot. I was reading it all on my phone because I didn't have the actual book. So like all of that combined, I think I did pretty great. And then the movie was like the cherry on top, and I loved it. So maybe you should set the same goal for yourself, to read the Odyssey in a week and then go see the movie. Would I recommend that experience? Yes, I would. It was fun, and I would do it again, 100%. Let me know if you read the Odyssey, if you think I'm a little crazy, because maybe I am. My future in-laws thought I was crazy. They were like, why are you doing this to yourself? And I was like, because I can. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye.